Good morning, everyone. I think I'm going to begin this video by stating that vertigo is a very interesting experience. I woke up with vertigo this morning. I've been dealing with it all week. It runs in my family, but I think in my case, it's caused by both migraines or the aftermath of migraines and stress. And I'm getting my ears cleaned out from at the ENT on um, on Saturday afternoon. So I think some of that may have fallen into that equilibrium part of the ear that goes in circles, and it's messed me up. So I'm sitting leaning this way. I didn't drive to work because it was especially noticeable, the vertigo, and it's bothersome and also dangerous to drive with vertigo. So I'm not risking it. So I texted my boss, and I am doing work from home. Um, I'm very fortunate and privileged to be able to work from home with the career that I have, being a clinician, which I am, and a lot of people don't may not understand that considering my political views, but because they think that it's supposed to be one or the other, when in reality, being a clinician isn't about choosing sides; it's about listening to the client, which I had to learn for myself, uh, as was studying, but in my field experience. And I know that in one of the videos, I had stated that this political environment has affected my work. And this is why I am opening myself up to listening to everyone, because I also see what's going on in this country, and it really is a class war. Um, I've decided that, like I said in my last video, I'm not going to shit sling. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to shit sling. I'm going to advocate for the people that I advocate for, because at the end of the day, they are humans. I advocate for the LGBTQIA community and the trans community, especially since they are the ones being persecuted the most, as well as immigrants, trans people of color, as well. And there are immigrants who are trans. And it is scary to have them to watch these people get kidnapped by masked thugs and thrown into vans, and then we never hear from them again. We never see them. It's a very scary world we're living in right now. And then we've got this dictator who wants to take away, or has taken away, our freedom of speech. I've already told my husband, listen, I can't keep my mouth shut. So if I get pulled away, this is what happened if I get taken. But I also know that I am privileged in that I pass for a white person, and they're kidnapping a lot of brown people, which is horrible. Don't get me wrong. So I'm going to use my colorism privilege to advocate as much as I possibly can. Um, my political views is that I know that I identify as a democratic socialist. That is me to the core. I said in my last video, I believe in helping people, not for saviorism reasons. I can't save anyone. I can only save myself at the end of the day. Uh, but it is just to help people. I know what it's like to have to really struggle when it comes to finances, and struggle for other things, like back in the day when I couldn't afford gas, back in the day when I didn't have health insurance. Uh, it's a scary thing. It's back in the day where I had to choose between rent and food, which I did. And it's not even back in the day. It's really only 7 years ago. But I will say this much. Uh, I am still, and always will be, probably very middle class, with what I do for a living. You'll see other videos in here where I'm upset about not making enough money, but the truth of the matter is, I don't think I was ever really meant to. It doesn't mean I gave up or anything. It just means I accepted. It just means I realized that what I'm really meant to do on this planet is to just help people. And, yes, I need money to survive, and I have made money to survive. I'm paying my bills, all of that. I'm very lucky to be married to someone who treats me as an equal and also helps out financially, but most of all treats me like an equal. He is my soulmate. Um, like I said, we're not rich at all. We're middle class. We're the people that are affected by the billionaires in office. We're the people that are affected because our taxes are lining their pockets. Immigrants don't do that. They don't take our money. They pay taxes too. And the undocumented ones have given about 96 billion dollars to taxes. Yeah, that's actually true. You can Google that. Uh, you know, and I say that because a lot of people have been duped into believing that they are the ones taking our money and resources. They're not. It's the billionaires. It's always been the billionaires. It's always been the sycophants in office. Those are the people we have to unite to fight because they're the ones creating this fascism so that they can stay rich and so that we can stay in our place. They are forgetting that we are the people that they work for. We're really their employers. We're the ones who vote them in, right? We're their employers. And they're forgetting that. So we need to remind them by uniting and being the united front that they fear, because that's why they're keeping us in the divide. They want left versus right. Okay. They want to blame the trans people and the immigrants because it's easy to make people angry, especially if you're working with, many of them who have been taught to be white supremacists who are indoctrinated into that. You know, I'll tell you this much. Yeah, the Christian nationalists in office are rich motherfuckers. They're billionaires. They don't give a fuck about any religion or whatever. They give a fuck about the money, okay, and being in charge, but mostly the money. Uh, but these people who follow them, the middle classers, the poor people, yeah, they don't got money. They don't have money. They, you know, they just believe everything they say because they think that this won't affect them, but it is affecting them. And people are starting to wake up. Even some MAGA folk are waking up, people. I know you don't believe that, but they are. They're waking up and seeing what is actually happening. People are angry. And while this administration and all of the people in it, well, you know, except for maybe a select few, like I have a few people, I believe that there are a few people in office who don't want this to happen. And this would include some Republicans. And I am not a Republican. I never will be. But that's because of what I do, of what I am. Being queer, being married to a unicorn, if you will, being an advocate for the LGBTQIA community since the age of 15, and still continuing that, being an activist for them, um, and standing behind and in front of my trans people, okay, trans and gender diverse people. Uh, it doesn't fit if you want to go with political whatever. But at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. What matters is we are working together and we have to. We have to unite. And I'm going to keep making videos about uniting because I've decided that I am going to join the what do they call it? The purple revolution. And it's because red and blue make purple. You know how they say purple states, like New Mexico. Uh, I love New Mexico because they work together. They're a good example of working together, actually. And I think that we can learn from them. I'm sorry about the background. That's my cat. That's our cat Lovecraft meowing at the top of his lungs. What are you doing, little guy? It's driving me nuts. But anyway, I'll lean up this way because I'm feeling really dizzy. Basically, what I'm saying is please look at what's really happening. I want you all to really look at what's happening. Okay? And I want you to ask yourselves, especially you, MAGA, I want you to ask yourselves, and I've asked this before, I've said it before in my last video, are you billionaires? I asked myself that question. I know the answer is no, which means I am not the privileged few that will be able to survive this whole atrocity of a government right now. You have to ask yourself that too. because it's your food that they're taking from your mouths and the mouths of your children. Think about it. They stopped the whole, the taking food from kids' mouths for free lunches. You don't think that was, about lining billionaires' pockets? These are poor people. These are poor parents who can't afford to feed their children. Okay, this is what they rely on, and people were celebrating taking food from their mouths. Think about that. If those were your children and you couldn't afford to feed them, wouldn't you want them to be fed? You love your children, you know? I've said some horrific things in the past about MAGA because of the fact that they have hurt a lot of the people that I love very much. Okay. I love my LGBTQIA brothers, my LGBTQIA people. Okay. I don't want to put a gender on it. And so many of them have been hurt because of this false rhetoric going around about them as a distraction, really. You know what we all are to these billionaires in office? Fodder. We're fodder for their fire so that they can continue to make money. You want to know what we really are to these billionaires in office? We're an episode of Squid Games. We're getting bet on. You think that one's going to survive? You think that one's going to survive? I put $1 billion on that, or I put $2 million on that. If you really think hard, we're entertainment to these motherfuckers. So I'm begging you all to please unite. We have to become a united front in order to fight the fascism and the billionaires. Okay? Because they're the ones who are hurting us. No one else is doing it. We don't have control over what other people do. I can't magically say, hey, go blow up this person. That's not what I do. I mean, I could say it doesn't mean they're going to do it, and I wouldn't want to say that in the first place. Okay? But I do know that I've said some horrible things about a lot of political people, and I'm not going to take those back because they kind of did some horrible things to other people. But I will say that a lot of us middle classers and poor people, people who are struggling, okay, we don't know what's going to happen with other people. We really don't have control over what other people are going to do. So left versus right is bullshit. Us versus fascism, us versus billionaires. That's what this is about. So please join the Purple Revolution. Okay, I'm joining it as a united front. It doesn't matter what political views you have. What matters is we're all affected by this. Have a good day.